welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Hillary, and if you are not new here, well, welcome back. Tonight we're going to be covering the Midnight Man game, and this one is really, really weird. It's not something that I would try, and I would also like to do a little disclaimer. Don't try it unless you're super serious about it, or unless you know what you're getting into, because I don't know, when there's stuff that has to do with like blood, maybe don't do it. Don't let anything into your home that you're not prepared to live with, basically. So I guess we can get right on into it. Other than the fact, I was going to tell you guys, I know I said I wasn't going to be wearing no pajama shirts this time, but I lied. I'm wearing a pajama shirt again. Yeah, COVID's real. Getting really tired of being inside, but I'm happy that I have this place to come to. I'm happy that I can share you guys some of my scary stories. So anyway, let's get into the Midnight Man. So I wanted to start with the instructions of the game and then move into a story that I had found on Reddit. This is not my story, but it's one that it was pretty interesting. So if you're into the scary stories and not only want to know how to perform it, but you want to hear a scary story about it, we're in the right spot. All right, let's do this. So some of the prerequisites to the Midnight Man game is that it must be 12 o'clock when you start. It can't be 12:01, it can't be 11:59, it has to be 12 o'clock or else this game will not work. The materials that you need to start this game will be something to write with, a piece of paper, matches or a lighter, a candle, salt, and something to prick your own finger with so that you can bleed onto it, which this is where it gets a little sketchy. Not into that, no. If you guys happen to be playing in a group or with multiple people, everyone will need their own things. So you'll need your own piece of paper, you'll need your own pencils, etc. You can't share. So step 1 is to write your full name, first, middle, and then last, on a piece of paper, prick your finger, and put some blood on your paper and let it soak into the page. Now you have to turn off all the lights in your house or wherever you are performing this ritual, I'm gonna say. And you have to go to a wooden door. The door must be wooden that you are using. You can't use like any material other than wooden. So you go to the wooden door and you place your paper in front of it and light your candle with your matches or your lighter and place your candle on top of the paper. Step 3 is to knock 22 times on the door, having the 20-second knock land exactly at 12 o'clock. When this happens, you pick up your candle, blow it out, and open the door. You have just let the Midnight Man into your home at this point. Step 4 is to immediately relight your candle. And at this point, you are playing the game and you have to try and keep moving around your house and not stop too long in one spot. Your goal is to avoid the Midnight Man at all costs, and the game does not end until 3:33 a.m. So you have to continue playing until 3:33. And that's what scares me the most, because 3 knocks, number 3, anything 3, that's a little Satan-y, if you know what I'm saying. Not good. If your candle goes out at any point in the night, you must relight it in 10 seconds. If your candle goes out, that means the Midnight Man is close to you and you have 10 seconds to relight your candle. If you are unable to relight your candle, it is important that you make a circle of salt and you have to stay in that circle of salt until 3:33 in the morning. Now, this is where it gets a little bit urban legendy, if you know what I'm saying. If you are unsuccessful in putting the circle of salt around you or relighting your candle, the Midnight Man is supposed to appear to you in your worst fear and possibly rip your guts out. So again, maybe don't play this game. I want to stress in this video, please don't play it. Like, don't sign your name on any blood, nothing. Don't run around till 3:33. Don't play with no demons. Not fun. Don't do it. Again, don't do it. I wouldn't try it. Me, myself, not into it. Now, if you are successful at relighting your candle, again, you have to play the game until 3:33. Your goal is to not get captured by the Midnight Man or to end up in your circle of salt. Your circle of salt is basically, you don't win the game, and I don't think anyone that ever plays this wins, but you don't win it if you end up in that circle of salt. The only way to kind of win is to keep your candle lit and continue walking around until 3:33. To know that you are close to the Midnight Man, you might feel a sudden drop in temperature. You might see a humanoid figure in all black, and you may hear whispering. And if you hear any of that, get out of that area because he's close. And I have the hair sticking up on my arms at this point because I am downstairs by myself. So now these are the do nots. Do not turn a light on in the middle of the game. Do not use a flashlight. Do not fall asleep during the game. Do not try to use somebody else's blood on your piece of paper. Do not try to use a lighter as a substitute for a candle. It will not work. And last but not least, do not try to provoke the Midnight Man. You won't like it. And also an important tidbit is that he may never leave. So you do this, you invite him in your house, he may never go away. You'll always kind of feel him hanging around you. So another reason to maybe not. I'm going to move on into the story now. So if you guys will excuse me, I'll be reading off my phone. But this is the story that I found on Reddit of somebody that actually tried it. So let's get into that. December 23rd, 2013. Me, Jake, and my cousin Tom were at home alone. My parents and siblings had left for Maryland earlier in the day to visit with our grandparents for Christmas. The plan was for us to join them on Christmas Eve. I had to dog sit, and my cousin Tom was keeping me company. They had left at roughly 2:00 p.m., and by night we were completely bored. We started watching some horror movies and had gotten in the horror movie mood. Not scared, but excited. It's hard to explain the feeling. Excited to be scared? So a quick Google search led us to this amazingly simple game. We had everything we needed already at home, and we could do it. This was something neither of us believed would work, even the tiniest little bit. Our plan was to disprove it for science. Smart, right? Let me describe my house real quick. Pretty average 2-story house, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, large basement, and living room. 11 p.m. This is to me when our night started. We started to assemble everything we would need in the kitchen. 2 large candles, 2 note cards, a sewing needle, 2 lighters, 2 baggies of salt, and a silver cross on a chain, which was hung on my sister's door to keep whatever we summoned out if it worked. When we finished collecting all of this, we were getting pretty excited and we definitely were no longer bored. 11:58. After writing our names, both me and Tom pricked our fingers and put a dot of blood on our pieces of paper and stepped outside with all of our supplies. We placed our bloodied names on the doorstep and waited for midnight. At 11:59, we knocked on our own door 22 times. 12 o'clock. We walked into my house, lit our candles, and commenced the game. It was pretty simple for a while, walking around, pretending we could feel cold spots, and basically playing the paranormal investigator. We played this for about an hour before we got bored. I decided I was done playing this dumb game and sat down on the couch with my candle and talked to Tom, who was feeling pretty much the same as I was about the game. We managed to talk for maybe 5 minutes. I was looking at Tom and he was looking around when he stopped talking in mid-sentence, his eyes fixing on something. Without saying a word, I looked over to see what he saw. In that doorway was a very black outline, darker than pitch black, blacker than the blackness of the house, outlined in the darkness. This thing was standing in the doorway to the kitchen leading the living room. It was almost human, but so much worse. His head was touching the top of the doorway, and its shoulder, they were touching the sides. The thing's arms were down near where my knees would be if I stood in that doorway. This thing's eyes were the darkest part. It looked like the darkness condensed so far that it created a hole in the world. It looked right at us. The only reason I know that this thing was not a figment of my imagination was that when I started describing it, Tom finished the description. We ran into my room, which had felt safest the entire night. We did not shut the door, which was against the rules. If you close a door, it would know exactly where you were. So we saw this thing pass the door and go down the hallway. As it did this, the draft it created blew out my candle. A draft is too kind a word for this wind. I could not get it to light. I finally lit my candle at the 10-second count. Tom was freaking out about it, and I was desperately praying I didn't need to draw a salt circle. If I did, Tom would have to venture out alone, and I would be left sitting on my own in the circle of salt in the pitch black with no candle and darkness for company. At this point, we decided we needed to get downstairs and stay there. 2:30 a.m. We walked quickly but silently down near the stairs and huddled in the basement corner near the fireplace. I do not know how we managed it, but we somehow managed to create what I can only describe as a bubble of positive energy. During this time, we talked about everything we could that would keep the good energy. This was by far the hardest thing I have done. How hard it is to think of good things, you might ask. Well, the entire time we were downstairs, footprints were stomping up and down the stairs, all through the kitchen and the hallway above us. And every once in a while, we could see a face looking at us from the stairs. So I would say it was pretty damn hard to keep that shield up. We sat down for what felt like years. The clock on the wall seemed to move way too slow. When 3:33 finally came around, the worst part was that my phone suddenly turned on at full volume. I take this as the thing saying goodbye in its own way. We immediately left and booked it out of there, and just got into the car and drove till daylight. Neither of us able to believe what just happened. Summary of the story, what I took away from this is don't mess with the paranormal. Those boards to communicate with spirits or flipping voodoo, it'll mess you up. The things seem to feed on negative energy, and unless you have experienced something like this, I don't know if you can understand how much it seems to be in your head. We would only do this again to prove we were not crazy, and with someone else to prove it. I apologize if my writing sucks. Please write in the comments if you have done or are planning on playing this game. And that's the end of the Midnight Man story that I'm reading to you guys. I'm hoping I got this all out. I have the chills now, and I have to edit. So hopefully nothing weird happens. I hope to see you guys next time. I'm hoping you guys are interested in the video. If you have any questions or if you've played this game, I would love to hear it. Like and subscribe if you want to, and feel free to email me if you guys have any stories that you would like told on the channel, or if you just want me to hear. I'd love to hear them because I'm always looking to hear some of that creepy stories. Alright guys, see you later. Bye.